والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا التعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والفرد والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى، مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. الحمد لله. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. We're continuing with our classes that we left off before the Dawrah. So about 40 days ago, we had these classes. We stopped the last. We had the last class about 40 days ago on this book. So I'm so sorry. I am if keep sniffing throughout my not well a bit. But Allahumma so apologize for that. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Now, so just a bit of revision there because we I know that we have left this for about 40 days. Because of the Dawra, I'm gonna do a bit of revision, a very quick revision, what we have taken so far. And also I know there are people here who are new. I think there are those who came from the Dawra, and so you are new to these classes, but these classes began on Shawwal. It began when? It began Shawwal this year, right? Now we are where? We are in Safar. Naam, we are Safar. Right, so these classes went on from, I think we began on the 2nd of Shawwal. 2nd of Shawwal, then Zulqa'dah, then Dhul Hijjah, then Muharram. But Muharram, no, because Muharram was a Dawrah. Right, so like for 3 months, right, first, and then we stopped for the Dawrah, and now we are continuing it. We are continuing this class in Shawwal, in Safar, afwan. Right, so this book that we're doing, this is a bit of an overview for those who have been with us for the classes, and for those who are new. Revision is always good for us, right? Because you revise and you take what you would and you revise what you have taken from before, and you apply. You make sure that you are applying it. Is the whole point of revision. That is why revision, it is in fact the most important part of studying, which is revision. Right. So Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Right. So this book, Khuluquna, it is a book written by Habib Omar in his 20s. He was only in his 20s when he wrote this book, Khuluquna, which means our character, or our moral constitution. This book can be found in English, I think, in Singapore. I'm not sure if they have any more copies yet left in Singapore. But I'm not sure if you can find it anywhere else also, this book, Our Moral Constitution. So the book begins with our akhlaq, khuluquna, our akhlaq. Khuluq is the singular for the word akhlaq. Akhlaq is a plural, while khuluq is a singular. Right, so our character, right? Which is interesting why Habib Omar, he calls it khuluq, right, and not akhlaq, the akhlaq, well, khuluquna, like which basically is our character, our good character, because there's only one good character, right? Perhaps that's why it's called Khuluquna, right? And Habib Omar, he wrote this book down, right, because he saw that there were people who didn't understand what was good character, right, and how do we have good character. Like, so he literally penned down, right, good character, from three angles. Right, the first angle is our good character with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because good character begins, right, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do you have khuluquna ma'allah? Actually, there's the first section, how do you have good character with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that section, in regards to good character with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we speak about muraqabah, we speak about always being aware, that Allah subhanahu is watching you. We speak about ikhlas, sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We speak about hirs, that which is, to hold on to God, like over always being present with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like we speak about standing in the night in prayer and being sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wanting to be alone with Him in the night. We speak about only bringing our problems and our issues to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and no one else. There is an akhlaq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As one of the Habaib, he was once, in a masjid, right? And he was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the masjid. And there was a king of that zaman, like who really, 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 really liked, this particular Habib. Like he really liked him. And so the king saw him once, in the masjid. So the king was like, I'm gonna go up to him, I'm gonna ask him if there's any needs. And mashallah, how many of us, if you see someone that you love, you see how you see them one day and they're just there, and you want to just go up to them and say to them, is there anything that you need? I want to provide for you. I want to help you and make this easier for you. So the Habib was in the masjid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, masjid, in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like and worshipping, right? And the king went up to him and the king said to him, do you have any need? Right? Do you have any need? Salaamu alaikum, do you have any need that I can fulfill for you? And the Habib was like, how can I ask anyone for any need when I am in the house of Allah? I just bad adab, right? This bad adab. That I'm right now in his house, in the house of Allah. I'm in his house. How can I dare ask anyone else for any need? Subhanallah. Um, and like you said, for example, you come to my house and then that you need water or you need some food or something, you're in my house, right? Like, would you go, like, to the shop nearby and buy something to provide for your own needs? I mean, I will feel offended. I'll be like, you're in my house, ask me, I'll give it to you. You know, you're in my house, right? You're in my house, let me fulfill your needs. Like, don't go around, asking my neighbor or asking, but ask me because you're in my house. In that, on that sense, the adab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This Habib was like, I'm in Allah's house. Like, how could I ask anyone for any of my needs? While I am in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the king, he backed off, right? And then he was watching the Habib, and the Habib left the masjid. And then so he followed the Habib, and he said, Habib, okay, now you're out of the masjid. Is there any need? Right? Is there any need that you need to be fulfilled? Right? And the Habib said, and the Habib said, are you able to fulfill needs of the akhirah? And the Habib said, you mean needs of the dunya or needs of the akhirah? And the king said, of course, of the dunya. I mean, I can't fulfill your needs of the akhirah, but dunya, yes, I can. Fulfill your needs of the dunya, yes, I can. And the Habib said, well, as for the dunya, I have no needs. I have zero needs. In this dunya, as for the akhirah, since you can't help me there, then I have nothing to ask you for. Subhanallah. Subhanallah, how many of us is someone so rich like that, like the king was so rich, right? They would just dismiss it, and say, I have nothing that I want to ask from you. No, the king is filthy rich and so much money. Nothing want to ask from you. Right? Same thing like the Sahabi, like who would prepare the wudu water for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a very beautiful story, right? Whereby he initially they were all guards for the house of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And when Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said down the verse that Allah will fulfill you. See, this is exactly the adab for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The moment Allah said down the verse, like to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam through the Quran, that Allah will suffice you from the people, meaning Allah is the one like who will suffice you on people. Allah will protect you from the people. So when this verse was revealed, right, to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, immediately he acted. Right, that is called adab from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Adab. If Allah says, "I will protect you," right, do you still ask someone else to protect you? Right? Do you still do that? Of course not. Right? Of course not. Do you still depend on anybody else? No. Allah has guaranteed protection for the Prophet ﷺ. And in fact, Allah has guaranteed for us, for example, our rizq. He has guaranteed it, right? He has guaranteed for us a lot of things, like subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we don't trust him. We don't rely on him. We don't turn to him. It's all bad etiquette, It's all bad etiquette for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, it's supposed to be doing a revision, let's go faster. So anyway, because I want to get to where we left, where we have reached, because we are now at Khuluquna ma'a anfusina. We're at our good character with ourselves. There are three sections: good character with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, good character with the creation, and good character with ourselves. Right, so right now we have reached the third section, right, with ourselves. So those of you who are new to these classes, I can advise you, right, you can go to my YouTube, and all the classes are recorded there. Right, so if you can open up my YouTube and show them. Are you can you open up the YouTube, Amira? I'm yeah, yes, you can open the YouTube, should do, but like, you just go to YouTube, search for Hannah Munshi. Right, go to YouTube, search for Hannah Munshi. You should be able to see under playlists, right? Playlists, right? This class is still being streamed live, right? But if you go under playlists, right, you should see under playlist Khuluquna. Khuluquna, our moral constitution, our good character, right? And you should see the classes from the very first class. It is there. So if you want to catch up with all of the classes from the beginning, our character of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our character of the creation, and every single one of these points, they're all wajib, by the way. It's not it's not even it's not sunnah, it's wajib. Wajib. All of these forms of good character, they are wajib. What's the hukum? Wajib. Right, wajib. What is the hukum of good character? Wajib. It's compulsory for us to have good character, subhanAllah. Okay, so I did the story of Sayyidina Muhammad. The place is there. Right. So anyway, so what was I talking about? See lah. I was looking to saying a story, right? I forgot what story I was saying. Oh yes, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's time. Right. So this Sahabi is a very famous story, mashallah. I love this story because it shows Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's character, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So Rasul he had companions, right, who were guarding over him. They would stand outside his door and they would guard his door because it's just the way when we have a leader, they're always guarded, right? But Rasulullah SAW gave us, Rasulullah SAW, like he put a standard, for leaders to the point where that Sayyidina Umar, when he became the Khalifa, and there was a leader. I think he came from, somewhere from Rome, from Syria, from Roman Empire. There was a leader came from the Roman Empire looking for the great leader of the Muslim Empire because the Muslim Empire was so vast at the time of Sayyidina Umar. It had really spread far and wide, but it spread further than Sayyidina Uthman, right? So they were assuming, that this leader of this vast empire will have some castle or some palace or some, and if it's bodyguards and like be so fancy because it's the way leaders are. Like, it's the way they are up till today. And leaders have like a whole, like, lot of stuff that's for them. Like, so anyway, this leader came to the Medina, looking for Sayyidina Omar, and they searched for him, and they asked the Sahaba, where's your leader? Amir al-Mu'minin, where's your leader? Umar bin al-Khattab. And the Sahaba, they pointed to Sayyidina Omar, and he was asleep having his afternoon nap, on the sand, right, by in the masjid, it's on the sand in the masjid, no guards around him, no others also, no mattress, nothing. I was sleeping, and they were surprised. That is your leader, right there on the sand, sleeping there, no bodyguard, nothing. So here is our leader. So now, and then when they went to him and said, oh, is it, you are leader of the Muslims, aren't you fearful that someone will come up and hurt you and harm? And he said, the one who says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is there to fear? What is there to fear if you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And he is basically, he has been trained by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So anyway, when the verse came down, so initially the companions, right, they were guarding over Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because this is the way it is, right? This is the way that everybody does it. So everybody, they guard over their leaders. So Allah revealed the verse that Allah will suffice you, O Muhammad, Allah will suffice you. Right. And so when this verse came down to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, immediately, this adab, immediately he went out to the guards outside his house and he dismissed them. He told them, you all can go home because Allah has said in the Quran, Allah will suffice me wa khalas. Right? There is no more discussion thereafter, right? About any guard or whatsoever. Okay, so the guards left because Rasulullah, he dismissed them. Right. Except for one Sahabi. Right? One Sahabi, he remained behind. So Rasul went back into his house, and afterward he came back out, and he saw the Sahabi sitting there. And he was like, I told you all that I don't need any more gas. You can go home now. Allah has sufficed me from the people. Right. And the Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, ما قمت هنا حارسا إنما خادما. Like the Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm not sitting here as a guard. I'm sitting here as a servant. I want to serve you. Right. The Sahabi said, I want to serve you. So um so Rasulullah, he was very pleased. And he was very pleased with the answer of the Sahabi that he served not as a guide but as a servant. He wants to serve Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Rasulullah will allow for it. Right? And so in the story goes, a very famous story, I love the story. Right? Story goes that one of the days whereby he was studying there and he would provide the wudu water for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he'll wake up in the morning for his tahajjud. How lucky this Sahabi, right? I mean, you're gonna be there early in the morning. Oh yeah, Allah. I mean, it's a very beautiful, like I think it's really beautiful, that to be a servant of the Prophet or your teacher, and like to be there awake before they are awake, early in the morning, and for their tahajjud, and you have already drawn water from the well, and you're ready with the water. Like I know the manzar or there's a scene is a very beautiful scene, right, to me. It's a very beautiful scene to be all ready, all ready to welcome your teacher. And you can only and your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you can only imagine how pleased this made the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to see someone already standing there, all proper with the water in his hands, right, ready to pour the water for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for his wudu. Right? I mean, mashallah, this brings really a lot of joy, happiness, right, to the heart, of anyone, right? If you are like that. Right. So, for us to reflect, like, are we like that with our parents, all ready to serve them? Are we like that with our husband, all ready to serve? Like that before they even wake up, you're ready to serve, mashallah. Allah. So anyway, then this is within the hadith goes, Rasulullah said to the Sahabi, ask whatever you want. Similar as the Habib story, whereby, you can ask whatever you want. And the Sahabi said, I have no needs. And Rasul kept insisting, no, ask. I want to give you, ask. And he's the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He can do for anything. You can ask for anything in this dunya. And akhirah, because he's a prophet, right? So he can actually ask for akhirah as well. Unlike the king could only fulfill dunya needs. The king was not confident enough to fulfill akhirah needs. Probably the Habib had more mustajab dua than the king. The king needed the Habib's dua. So and eventually the Sahabi, he said that I want your murafaqa, I want your companionship in paradise. Like, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, then assist me, help me help you, like in doing a lot of sujood. And this we get the hadith, and him saying that Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is him opening the door, to this position of having the muraqabah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi, of having um the murafaqa of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the compassion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in paradise. That you see this hadith, right? It's so beautiful with this Sahabi and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? It's a very beautiful hadith. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his answer, if you think about it, right, in his answer when he said, increase yourself in sujood, I mean, do more sujood, he has opened up the majal, I mean, he has opened up the chance to anyone who wants to strive. Beautiful, right? Yeah, mashallah. So like you're like, oh, I was in that zaman to serve Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I was in that zaman to get the water and to pour for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I was in that zaman like to be like the Sahabi and get like a free dua, ask whatever you want. So there is someone to say that, right? The answer of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is an open ticket. Literally, it's an open ticket, it's an open door. Like you want to get the same, you want to get this, you want to be like the Sahabi, to be with Rasulullah in paradise, like to be together with him. Then increase yourself in sujood. Do more sujood is your choice. Right? Do more sujood. If you do more sujood, then it's for you. Right? That's it. And the answer was a very beautiful answer because it opened up the opportunity for anyone in the future to strive for. MashaAllah, right? Okay. Anyway, continuing with the revision, right? So, like to do a lot of crying out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dua, and even in your ease and difficulty, right? And then to exalt all of the emblems of this religion, anything of the signs of anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made great, we should exalt. Right? We should exalt. All that Allah has made great, we should exalt. Now we went through different examples, of things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made great. This number five is a very beautiful one. Number five, he's the first one, in fact, the only one, that you turn to in face of a calamity and difficulty is the only one that you turn to. Because who else out there can help you, honestly? Who else? Who else can help you? And so, what kind of adab, what kind of etiquette is it that you keep turning to those who are unable to help you, and you don't turn to those who can help you, right? What kind of adab is that? Correct. Subhanallah. And same thing, so for us, to know where is the master of assistance, where is the source of assistance? And that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. And then وَنَرْعَى الْحُدُودِ. Right. So, and to guard over the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's from the adab with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we move into the adab with Allah's creation. خُلُقُنَا مَعَ عِبَادِهِ. um and then and so in this part, in the second section, we spoke about the loving Allah's creation, the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially those who have iman. They have the iman of Allah subhanahu in their hearts, right? And to love for them, we love for ourselves, right? And then to have compassion on others, like to respect the old, to have compassion towards the young. And all of this we have explained, and we've explained in the past few months, before the Daura. We explain all of these points in detail, with stories also they come along with them, right? And then to accept, goodness from people, right? And to remember their goodness towards us, and then to overlook like any, wrongdoings from people, and to forgive them about it, right? And not to be angry, right, for our own sakes, but to be angry because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, right? And that for us to uh, 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 and for us to appreciate, right, whatever they have done, and for us also to this is the part whereby I was explaining during the dawrah, because there was a question about this, right? So here Habib says, um نتقيهم ونحذر منهم ولا نسيء بهم الظن. Right, so first, so this is about adab with the people. نتقيهم, that means beware of them. As you do beware. You do beware, and you take your caution, right? But do not have su'uzan, right? Do not have su'uzan on them, right? And here it is understood the difference between having caution, of people, and that is part of life. You do have caution, with people, like, especially, with regards to, there are two things that you should always have caution with people about, which is your wealth, right, and your religion. And I will include in your family as well, your family, your children, right? Your wealth, your religion, your children. Have caution with people, and don't just believe people and trust them and put your money with them, right? Or don't just believe people and trust them and just, believe whatever they say about the religion. Don't, right? Go to trustworthy sources, right? And then your children, your family especially, your family, your children especially, don't just leave them at the hands of just anybody, right? But someone trustworthy, right? Someone trustworthy, right? So all of these things, like people, to have to not let your guard down, but to have a hadr, right? To guard over and to have caution, right? But at the same time, we have no su'uzwan, and I mentioned the difference between these two things, in the dawra, and as well as in the class when I taught this class a few months ago. The su'udhan happens after an action has taken place, that you can choose, in yourself, to maintain a husnul of someone. So you can say to yourself, okay, you know what, I'm going to have a good opinion of this person. Maybe she did this or she did that, right? Because of this reason or that reason, that is your husnul. Okay, right? It means you make a good opinion after things have happened, right? But before things happen, you are to not say, "Oh, I'm going to have focus on, therefore I want to trust everybody, right? Who tells me anything. I'm going to have focus on." No, no, there is not a place of focus on. There is a place of hazard. There is a place of caution, right? So you say to yourself, you know what? Be cautious. You don't know what they're about. You know who they are. You just met them. Like, can you trust them can you trust them with your money? You don't know. Like, if someone says, no, you must have khususan of me. This is not the place of khususan. before things happen, like when you're taking caution, it's part of you putting in effort. Like you need to guard over what is precious to you, and what is the most precious thing to you is your religion, right? And then your family or your loved ones, and then your wealth. These are precious things, right? And therefore, you must have utmost caution with regards to who you place these things, in whose hands you place these things in, right? Subhanallah. Right, so, Ya Allah. Right, so, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Now, right, and to elevate, to love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we explain it as well, and to invite to elevate ourselves above personal goals and interests. Our goal should be eternal, right? To pull everyone into an eternal goal to the hereafter, and to invite people to Allah subhanahu and truthfulness. And it's quite a long chapter with regards to the rights of people, or our character with people. And because a lot of rights talk about, mashallah. So inshallah, I hope we all can go through again and revise again all of our good character with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our good character with the people. Go through the notes again. Okay, go through the notes again, go through the classes again. If you have to, like, play it out. I would say play it out, let your kids listen to it, so they also know, right, what is good character of Allah, what is good character with the people, and they begin to embark on this compulsory journey of good character. Good character is compulsory in our religion, right? Our moral constitution. It's called our moral constitution, right? In English, but I think it is sold out, because we took the remaining of the copies in Singapore. There was remaining, right, and then we sold it in Ramadan. Because it's going to be the class in Shawwal, so I sold it off in Ramadan. But you can contact the publishers, or the translator himself, right? And see if you can produce more, right? Please contact them. I think those who have the book, you can actually look into producing more copies if more people want the copies. But I think it's completely sold out in Singapore. Right. Um, now, okay, right. So, so in the last part of the section, right, on our character, our good character with people, I spoke about having good tarbiyah of our children, giving the rights of our husbands, the rights of our family, right, to instill in the hearts of those whom we love the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the ta'zeem, that means the aggrandization, right, the exaltation, of Allah's of whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has exalted. Right, kita faham? So we have finished all of that. That was all in the past few lessons. Right, so all of you here, right, those who have gone through the lessons and those who have not gone through lessons, you should do a bit of revision. Okay, it's all there online. It's all there online. It's a matter of choosing it. تمام. خلقنا مع أنفسنا. Okay, our character with ourselves. Let us start from here. So now, so we've gone through خلقنا مع Allah, like our character with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our good character, our moral constitution with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We've gone through خلقنا مع عباد الله. And we've gone through our good character, our moral constitution with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala servants. And now we're going into خلقنا مع أنفسنا. Our, our good character with our own selves. Okay, I'm gonna read one because nursery 7:30, right? So and this class only for half an hour every morning, so half an hour class, right? For you all to get some barakah before you go to work, go to school, right? Wherever you're going early in the morning, right? So some barakah in the morning classes. Um, so I will take the first point because we're already out of time. Then just for this week, 'cause I want to finish the questions on the Padlet that happened during the Daura. I want to finish those questions. And I'm just thinking also that I'm going to probably leave the Padlet open to just answer anyone's questions. So anybody has questions, please put your questions there. Then I can just, see what questions you all have and just answer, as we through the year, I guess, whenever I can. Okay, the first point here, نربي أنفسنا ونزكيها ونطهرها ولا ولا نأمنها. يعني Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. م. م. تعرف النفس لا تأمن غوائلها فالنفس أخبث من 70 Shaytana is a verse of poetry. So here, first and foremost here, نربي أنفسنا. نربي أنفسنا meaning we nurture ourselves or we educate ourselves. نربي تربية. You have to do tarbiyah of your children. Yes, tarbiyah of your own selves as well. Like train yourself. And this entire book from start to end is a training of the self. Right? It's a training of the self. Right? Training yourself to be righteous people. Training yourself, right, to grant the rights of others. Right? Training yourself. Right? So if you educate yourself, right, educate yourself uh, uh, on the rights of Allah, on the rights of people, and after you have learned it, you're gonna train it. You have to train it. You have to. It's gonna be. It's just struggle. You see, good character is the heaviest thing on the scale on the day of judgment. And that tells us what is good character, meaning it is something that's difficult. It is. To really polish up your character, to really have good character with the people, and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it does take a lot of training, a lot of training of the heart, a lot of controlling the self, like a lot of purifying what's in your heart. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. And sometimes it's really against your ego. It is really against yourself. The author of the book is Habib Amar bin Hafid. Um, it's really against it, like it's really against like what you want to do, even your comfort level, like, even against your comfort level, because you have to forgive people, you have to love them, you have to be okay with them, you have to subhanallah, it takes a lot, right, from people. Like it's a nurabbi meaning it's a lot of training. It's a lot of training, especially people who have hurt you and they've hurt your family, right? So to really put aside all that hurt, or they've been unjust, right, towards you and your family, especially was against your parents. Right? It's the hardest thing to do. Right? But of course, our religion calls us to very high standards or very high levels of morality. Deen calls us higher and higher. Subhanallah. Right? So to train yourself, نربي أنفسنا, right, ونزكيها, to purify. Purify ourselves of what? Purify ourselves of dunya is the first thing. Purify ourselves of any attachment towards the dunya, purify ourselves of our egos. Right? That, so there's sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, what stops us from doing the right thing that we know is the right thing is our ego. Right? Our ego does not want to bow itself down or forgive someone that we perceive as undeserving of forgiveness, or we, to look down, or to just, forgive and forget, to let go of certain things that's happened, that was wrong and that was unjust against you. The ego is unable to do that, right? The ego is like, no, cannot, no, she did this, she did that, or he did this, or he did that, and the ego can't, the ego just can't do that, and to apply all of what we've taken in our character with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also to purify ourselves from relying on the creation and not the creator. Right, subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of this goes into aqidah, which is basically tasawwuf. It is aqidah and tasawwuf, because the one who truly understands that he has none except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that how can he turn to anyone else? Right? How can you turn to anyone? How can you rely on anyone else? How can you need anyone else? If you know that all you have is Allah subhanahu, and the only one that is for you is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how can you turn, or how can you need anybody else besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How is that possible? Subhanallah. Right, so وَنُطَهِّرُهَا, right, to cleanse our hearts, right, to cleanse. So Habib Umar is using all of the words. You train yourself, نُرَبِّي أنفسنا, you train yourself, you educate yourself. Like, so the word Rabbi is not just educate. I know the translation here says educate, but it's tarbiyah. Tarbiyah is a form of training. You're going to train. And the difference between training and educating is that when I educate you, maybe I teach you a one-off, I teach you, and you understand, right? But tarbiyah, training, it means I'm going to work on you over and over and over and over and over again until this becomes part of you. Right? So when you do tarbiyah of your children, when you are training your children, you're going to be, it's not a one-off. Just the word in itself tells you it's not a one-off. You're not going to tell them one time, clean your room. No, you're going to keep reminding them until it becomes intrinsic in them and becomes part of their initiative or their character. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is make your bed and clean your room, right? And then, like, in a sense, Like, straight away, this has been instilled in them, the tarbiyah, and that we do not go around being rude to people. We do not go around saying bad things to people. We don't go around hurting people's feelings. We don't. And it's just the way we are, as believers. And this is how our standard of conduct, right? So it's tarbiyah. So it's training. It's training. Training meaning that you're going to do it over and over and over and over and over again until you perfect it, right? And you will not reach perfection, but you get better, inshallah. That is what training does. You get better, right? So subhanallah. So and to not feel safe from the evil machinations of the desires. It means you not feel safe from the nafs, right? The nafs and what the nafs wants, right? So you train your nafs, right? You purify your nafs, you cleanse your nafs, your unfortunate, you cleanse your nafs and don't feel safe from the, from any of the whispers of the nafs. They always be wary of the nafs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and by the nafs, right? So usually in some English books or translations, they use the word soul to translate the word nafs, which is, I would say, inaccurate, right? Because soul, you say ruh, like ruh, you will say soul. I know some of the English books, they will say spirit, right? But any soul is a soul, your spirit. That is what is pure in the human being. And the nafs is your ego, right? It's your ego. So I would change the word soul here to ego, and the ego, the nafs, the self of the human being, right? The nafs, it's your ego that, and the ego can be subdued. The ego can be subdued. It can be trained. It can be controlled, right? So then, وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and the self of the human being, the self or the ego of the human being, and whatever has, and Allah, the one who has proportioned it, that means Allah has placed in the self of the human being. It is you, right? It is you. It's in yourself, right? Allah has placed the self of the human being a sense of right and wrong, right? فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And Allah says, and Allah has inspired in this nafs of the human being, its fujur, right? Its wickedness, وَتَقْوَاهَا, and its righteousness. This tells us that the nafs can be trained. Right? That's when the nafs is born, right? The natural state of the nafs when it's born, for those who are non-prophets, right? The natural state of the nafs when it is born, right? It is that it is naturally selfish, naturally self-centered. This is what the nafs is. Naturally, just seeking for itself, 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 and nobody else. That is something that is actually natural for the nafs to do. Right. So, and you see it in children very quickly. Right. Straight away, it's my toy, it's my this, it's my that. And they might even go and hit, other people when they don't get what they want. Right. So it has to be trained. It has to be trained. You must train the nurse on this. You must train the nurse, train the child. No, we must share. You love what you love, all that you love to share. If you need to share with other people, right? Be kind to people. Like, don't hit people when you're upset. Come, there is control us, control ourselves. Let us this, let us that. Right? And the nafs is, if you go into the book of Rasibian, and the nafs, you straight away try to control the nafs, like from the age of 2, in fact, younger than that. You try and control, because the battle of this nafs is lifelong, honestly, it's lifelong, this battle of this nafs. Right? So from as young as it is, you need to educate them, but of course gently. You're not going to hit them. You're not going to, pinch them or punish them. No, but there has to be an education. Like, there has to be an education. And I've seen, how many parents I have seen whereby they will say, "Oh, it's just a child, it's just a child." Yes, we know it's a child, but you have to educate your child. You have to train your child from a very young age. Yes, from a very young age. That I've met parents whereby their children, not very young, they're quite, of an age, whereby they're allowed to do whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do, and take whatever they want to do. And the parent just allows them to do it, and they will say, "It's just a child, just a child." Naam, just a child that needs to be trained, you know, because human beings are not born, perfect. They're born full of flaws and all nafs, the balls of nafs. So we are human beings. And how many human beings till their old age, to their adult age, they never grow out of that 2-year-old nafs. They maintain the 2-year-old. If it gets even worse as they grow older, because nobody actually helped them control their nerves. Right? No one actually taught them Like how do you control your emotions? How do you control yourself? How do you control, what you want? Or how do you control, how do you, respect people around you? And how do you be in society? Unfortunately, in our zaman, Allahu Alam, I think right now in this day and age, there's a lot of confusing parenting techniques out there. There's only one parenting technique that we need in our zaman, and that is the technique of our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That is the only technique that we look at. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is a firm teacher. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He is full of mercy, yes. He's gentle, yes, but firm. Firm in the sense uncompromising with regards to what is good and what is bad, uncompromising. Right? So he has never allowed for something that is bad to slide, in his watch, not on his watch. If he saw it, like he will correct it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the point his own grandchildren, Sayyidina al-Hasan al-Hussein, there was one someone gave, a sack of dates as charity, and Sayyidina al-Hasan al-Hussein, they went to the dates, and they were small children, very small children, right? And they took the dates and put it in their mouths, and that the family of the Prophet ﷺ does not take charity. They don't. They don't take charity. So some saw it, and they are small children. And he saw it, and he went to them, and he said, "Kah, kah," and he says, throw it out, throw it out. Like, and he took the dates out of their mouths, right? And that is from the compassion of Rasulullah ﷺ, because it's a law. It is a law. Even though they were babies, they were children, but it is the law. Like the family of the Prophet, they don't take charity. And he take it out, take it out, take it out, take it out. He was saying, throw it out, spit, 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 take out, take out. The dates, because the kids had taken the dates from from us from charity. And this is what we understand from Rasulullah that, and he would wake up his children, his daughters, and Fatima Zahra, about the Hajj. Like he would not be pleased with dunya, for her. And this is all the way of Rasulullah. It's not too strict. It's not too strict, but it is correct. It is correct. You need to, and if it's a good question, how do you teach your children emotional regulation? You need to start to be their voice in their head. You know how they would say, that parents who are abusive, they become the voice in the head of their children, and that is true. That is true, and many people they struggle with them the rest of their lives because their parents have been abusive with them verbally, and so they struggle with all this, very demeaning and degrading, voices in their heads, right, that they grew up with, right? So let's do the opposite. Let's do the opposite and be a positive, strong, emotional voice in their head. So as they grow older, this is what will ring in their heads when things happen to them. Right? So for me personally, like I have that, alhamdulillah, from my mother, that her voice rings in my head. As I grew up, she's taught us many, many, many lessons, my mom, right? And her voice rings in my head. Her voice rings in my head. Like so when things happen to me in life, that they form you. The voice of your educators, of your parents, of your teachers, they form you, right? And this voice ringing in your head. So you need to do a lot of talking, a lot of talking. My mother used to do a lot of talking with us. Like she would, like if let's say since I was young, so if let's say I was teased, or I was hurt about something, or I was upset about something, or angry about something, whatever, she would sit us down. In fact, both my parents, my mother and my father, like they would sit us down and they would say, okay, right, let's look at what's going on here. There was a situation here. Can we think? Yes, we can think. Right? Is there any point in being upset about this? Is there any point in being angry about this? No. Right? They call this certain names. Is it true about yourself? No. Then halas, let it be. So my mom, that was her the tarbiyah. Like she would just run through the thoughts. She'll run through with me, all of us, if you're all seven of us, there's seven of us, right? All of us should run through with us the thought process, right? And then she would shape the thoughts, right? And that is healthy. That is healthy. So you be that thought process. So you don't be the damaging thought process, but you be the positive thought process, right? That becomes part of your children. So as they grow on in life, they become very emotionally resilient. And this is a term that people don't use anymore, right? To be emotionally what? Resilient, right? People are just so emotionally weak nowadays. The slightest thing, and they collapse. They can't handle it. They go into all kinds of, spiraling. Can we be emotionally resilient? and teach our children to be emotionally resilient. You know what the strongest way, right, to gain emotional resilience? To place the dunya where it is and to place the akhirah where it is, in a sense, in your priority, right? So if something is in the dunya, it is not worth it. It's not worth it. It's dunya. It's people, it's dunya wa khalas, you know? But if something is in the akhirah, oh yes, it's worth it. And that's where you get emotional resilience. You get emotional resilience from there. If you can understand this life as it is, what is akhirah, what is dunya, and place things where they are, right? And only place emotions to what is worthwhile. Like what is not worthwhile, like matters of dunya and of people and of what people said and whatever and whatever and whatever. It's never ending. The dunya is never ending. Injustice is never ending in dunya. It's called dunya for a reason. It's dunya, right? It's never ending, right? So if you can understand this from a very young age, you have emotional resilience because literally a lot of things don't matter, in this dunya. Alhamdulillah. Okay, anyway, you will stop the next point. Do not eat and drink excessively. Oh, ya Allah. Do not sleep excessively. Because all of this bad add up with yourself. You're hurting yourself when you're eating too much and drinking too much and sleeping too much. You're hurting your own self and your own soul. But tomorrow I'll speak more about it. I have gone past the time. So inshallah, I tomorrow we will go. So this is a daily class, except on Fridays. Fridays we do another book. Fridays we do a book on Qasida Muhammadiyah where we explain the verse in Qasida Muhammadiyah. That book, you can find the shara of it on my own online bookstore. You can find the shara of Qasida Muhammadiyah there. Like, but inshallah, I will go into this part. Oh yes, there was the like this is part of from here. You must know the nafs and not feel safe from its plots and evil schemes. The nafs is more evil than 70 shayateen. And there was is from a line of poetry, okay? تعرف النفس لا تأمن غوائلها فالنفس أخبث من 70 شيطانا. That is from a line of poetry, the last line here. So to know the nafs and to not feel safe, right, from the delusions or the deceptions of the nafs, for indeed a nafs, it is worse than 70 shaitans, right? So inshallah, tomorrow we'll continue more on this. Um, inshallah. The notes, you can find it on the YouTube. I rather people listen to the classes than to get notes, just like that. It is better that you go and listen to the classes, and write down your own notes. That is better for you. All right. So it's all on the YouTube. It's all there. Mm. Write your own notes, inshallah. It is better. It is better. It is better to always write your own notes. Put in the effort. It's all recorded. It's all right there. Write your own notes and then internalize and then apply. Like apply it. I would say even if your own household for children, learn it together. Learn it together. And then place it shaitana in the verse shaitana, like for the rhyming, right? So I would say that okay, to try to put out this khuluq or this character out somewhere on the whiteboard, on the house, on the wall. You should always have like a big whiteboard, in your house where you write stuff, you know, for the kids to see, reminders. I mean, I think every house should have. I have it in my house. Reminders for myself. Not just reminders of what to buy from the market, but more of like, reminders. Today is a day whereby this was remind yourself, remind your kids, put a big whiteboard. And the old school, I know, like, but do it. So before they go to school every day, everybody leave the house every day, they see it. They see all these reminders from you. Right? So write down your different quotes, different things that you have learned, things like that, reminders for them, for yourselves, as for yourself especially, and put it up in your house. I would say it's a very good tool of tarbiyah. It's a very good tool of educating your children. You put something there, and in fact, it could be even, a place whereby they can share what they have learned as well. Or if they have any questions, they can actually restrict it there as well. Right? It becomes like a board where people, the family, looks at, the family sees, if you can have that. Um, how can we train ourselves on issues of instructing negative voices that have been us since a young age? Is it a struggle ever? Yes, it is a struggle because it is there and it has been embedded from a young age. That's why we urge parents like to give a positive voice to your children. But if you have been growing up with negative voices, and I have many students, and friends who they do have that, they have these negative voices in their heads. That is why you study the religion. Because in studying the religion will undo all that. Right? And that's why you have to go for course classes. You must. You must go for regular classes. And if you're not, you cannot hope to try and remove all these voices. I know people go for counseling and so on and so forth. Right? But really, all that you need to hear is already in the religion. It's all there, especially in Aqidah, especially in Tasawwuf, in purification of character. It's all there. Right? So you need to rewire. And it's not impossible to rewire. You can rewire yourself, right? But it is in studying. You need to study. You need to study. And I know personally for myself that studying the religion has helped me a lot in my life, a lot in how I face life. It has helped me so, 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 so much in managing my emotions, in managing myself, managing my life, like managing my priorities, everything. The deen has it addresses everything in human existence, everything. There is nothing out there, that the religion has not already spoken about. Everything the dean has spoken about, right? So just pay attention to that. Okay, we only have 5 more minutes left. I think I'll just take one question from the Padlet because I really want to finish the questions here on the Padlet, right? But yeah, let's see how long. Okay, now. Allah, wasalli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. We have the Padlet. Let me just see, share. Okay, now. Um,